Do you have anything for us?
Not a whole lot. I mean, you know, I tell you what, it's I can't remember many bowl practices with a day like this. I mean, you know, usually bowl practices you have bad memories in your mind of weather. You know, it's usually freezing or windy or nasty, and I mean, what a beautiful day to be able to get back to work. I mean, that was you know, great coming out here, and it's good to see the guys. They got a good spirit to them. They've been off, obviously, a little over a week, you know. So, and obviously they needed a break. I mean, I think that's been good for them. But it's good to get back to work. Today was a day about really kind of getting back to our fundamentals, our basics, both sides of the ball. And we introduced West Virginia today, and we'll continue to do that every time we come out here as far as what they do, and we'll trickle in the game plan. You know, you can work too much on one opponent, and so you want to keep it fresh and get on and off the field. This is an unusual bowl practice for us in that you know, typically we've had them this week. Finals were last week, but finals are a week later this year, so we're having to jockey around that a little bit as far as our schedule and when we can have them. But a good start today. We ran them pretty good after practice. We needed to really push them and stretch them out a little. I thought they pushed through that very well, especially the guys that have been playing and guys we're counting on. But had a few young guys we might have sent into shock a little bit today. They hadn't quite ran as much, but good start, and you know, we'll get back. We'll get some pads on tomorrow and ramp it up a little bit tomorrow. Be a similar type practice because again, we're kind of squeezed in between finals, and then Thursday we'll pretty much have them when we get out here. It'll be kind of a normal day at 4, and we'll just have meetings on Friday around their finals, and then really crank it up on Saturday. We'll keep them till the 22nd and then let them go home for a few days, and then we'll be reconvening down there on the 27th. Actually going to not be at our hotel to the 29th, so we're going to be in a different location and really kind of have a little mini camp, if you will, for a couple of days before the bowl gets started. So I think we've got a good plan, good schedule, and you know, really like, you know, how they came out to work, and I think they were excited to get back to work. So just a good start.
Are you going to let the guys drive to Florida?
Well, we've got really 3 different options. You know, the biggest thing that I like to do is help the players as much as possible. You know, I want them to be able to get the most money that they can get, and the options for them are some of the guys that are a distance. You know, we'll purchase them a round-trip ticket, and then they get no travel money when you do that. So they just get the per diem money. But you just got you know, we got guys in Boston and Ohio and California, and I mean, we got guys from all over on this team. So those guys that it's a burden to get back here, we'll just purchase them a ticket. And then we have a charter that'll be leaving here the morning of the 27th with the staff, and pretty much, you know, I would say the great majority of the guys will be going on that charter. So we can still give them some travel money home, you know, back, but then we can get them all down there as a team, and then we have a group that'll just show up on their own. That it's just easier for them to do that. And so that's kind of they're all in one of them categories. But I would say the great majority of the guys will come back to Clemson, and we'll go down on the charter the morning of the 27th.
Do you have any update on Mike Bellamy's status?
No, he just, you know, as I said earlier, he's, you know, suspended indefinitely, and you know, he will not be at the bowl with us. But you know, expectation is, you know, he'll have an opportunity to you know, come back in January, and you know, if he does the right things, have a chance to go through spring. If he doesn't, he won't. So you know, that's just really all there is to say on it.
And he's not working out with you?
No, he's finishing finals, and he'll go home as soon as that's over. He'll be heading home.
And can you just clarify the Sammy thing? I know that it's been cleared now, but there was some kind of thing with it.
Y'all making clarify it for me. I didn't know anything about it till this morning. I I got a thing from Stephanie, and basically it was just I guess somebody advertising a party or something that had several players named or whatever. But no, there's nothing to that. But that's good job by our compliance department. And that's why you have a compliance department for stuff like that. I mean, listen, there's things out there that come up constantly, that you're always having to check on and chasing ghosts and stuff like that. But again, it's good to be vigilant and proactive, and glad that wherever it came from, somebody caught it and got that. I think they cease and desist or something like that in place.
Is this that week? It's a little bit disappointing with the final stuff. It's really good value in having goal fight.
Oh yeah.
Is this that week?
Well, yeah. This is big for that, because again, we'll have more individual time, and so you'll be able to get a little bit more technique and fundamentals than you normally get in a normal game week when you're trying to really get the plan in and you're in a 20-hour rule. We don't have a 20-hour rule. That's not in place. So yeah, we'll have more indie, more technique, fundamental time, but then we started today. We'll do JV, as we really ran the varsity hard, and then we have a designated JV, and so this is an opportunity for us to really basically get another spring practice, a pre-spring practice with all of those guys, and really teach them, our fundamentals, and we'll do that. Even down at the bowl site, we'll be doing that all the way through with those guys. Today was all indie with their positions, but once we get the pads on, we'll start doing some one-on-one, some crossover. We'll do some inside. We'll probably even do some live scrimmaging with those guys as we go through this thing. And so that's great work for that big group of our team that will have a chance to be contributors for us next year. So, and then again, from a varsity standpoint, it's about getting the plan in, but it's about also improving on the things that you need to improve upon. And we have more time to fix some stuff. We have more time to evaluate ourselves and tweak some things, self-scout, and maybe break a few tendencies. So we'll do that along the way throughout this process.
Can you elaborate on this mini camp that y'all are going to do before?
Well, it'll be the bowl doesn't officially start till the 29th, and we're going to get them down there, and again, it'll be pretty tight range. It'll just be the people, just the necessary people, and we're gonna keep our hands on them pretty good, and really have the 27th, the 28th, and then the morning of the 29th will be like a true Tuesday type practice for us. So we'll get that work in before we check in for the bowl the afternoon of the 29th. And like I said, just really kind of, there's no functions going on. It's really just us and what we're trying to do. And again, really kind of keep our hands on them pretty tight. And then once we get the bowl started on the 29th, then obviously then you got different things going on, and it is a reward, and you want to be able for them to enjoy that. We're going to win. I mean, we're going and we're going to prepare to play a great ball game. It's going to take that. It's going to take the same type of effort and accountability that we had in our championship game to win the Orange Bowl, no doubt. So we've got to have great practice, but you got to have that balance as well for your guys. And those first couple of days, again, there's not much going on other than just Clemson, and that'll be a good work for us.
Can Phil Price be healthy enough to help you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He'll be good.
Have you ever been around a team when you guys won the turnover, won the penalty, you won, and when you didn't, you lost? Sometimes a team can have a -1 and 6 or 7 penalties. It just seemed like such a stark contrast for your ball.
Well, I mean, that's been our formula all year, and the first 8 games, I think we had 6 turnovers, but we were +9. I mean, we were creating them too, and then I think we were -10, 4-game stretch. I mean, big shocker, you lost 3 of them. I mean, that's just, it affects everything. It affects confidence, momentum. It affects the other team, field position. It's all, that's number one starting point right there in winning football games is the turnover margin. in my opinion. I'd say most coaches might agree with that. But and then right out of the gate, we create a turnover, and what does that do? It creates field position, opportunity, momentum, and it just goes from there. And confidence, swagger, everything. So and when you're a young football team, that's even if you were a big veteran team, maybe you manage some of that stuff mentally a little bit better. But when you're a really young team, it's even, I think, more glaring. So,
can you say that this minicamp maybe is designed to kind of emphasize all the little things, and you'll be able to?
Well, it's really and we could bring them back here, but again, now you're making guys come all the way back from Florida to Clemson to go right back, and that's a burden on the players. But yet you can't give them off that long. I mean, we got to get back to work. So I just think it's, and I appreciate our administration allowing us to do that, so we can all come together. The players can maximize, their opportunities. It's what's best for the players. And but again, the bowl for us ain't gonna start to the 29th. We're gonna use it for really team purposes and really kind of keep a tight rein on them for those couple days.
Sounds like Dwayne Allen had a pretty good week nationally with recognition. Could you imagine that, what he's gone through like 2-3 years ago, in terms of metamorphosis he's had personally?
Well, first of all, I was told that we weren't going to use the tight end in this offense. That's what I told him. We were standing out there at the ESPN thing, and I said, man, everybody's, you're in my office, everybody's telling you we don't use the tight end. I'm like, how about that? Got a Mackey Award winner. So, I'm happy for him. And I guess it would be hard for me to imagine that from where he was when he got here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because he had a long way to go. I think y'all would probably even agree with that.
Yeah.
Just as a person and just maturity but I got to give Dwayne all the credit. I mean, the guy has bought in and has just matured beyond belief. And transformed right here at Clemson, and you got to give Clemson a lot of credit for that. Just the culture here, the people we have in place. But I'm proud of him. I mean, he is just a great example to a lot of guys, and he has really become as good a leader as we've had here since I've been here. I mean, he has become that kind of leader, and does the right things and is really focused on his future. He's focused on being the best he can be. He's focused on being great. That's what drives him. And he is. I mean, he's a special player. He's a special person, and just has a great future in front of him. So I'm proud of him.
What about getting a defense ready to face two 1,000-yard receivers?
Yeah, man. Well, that's what jumped out at me in just initially starting to study them. We're both explosive on offense, but we're different. They run the ball, but they're more really attacking through the air. Whereas we really want to run the ball and balance it up. That's what we want to do. And when we've been able to do that, that's when we've been at our best. But 2,000-yard receivers, the quarterback is very efficient. Has done a good job. They have some backs that are very capable of hurting you. A lot of athleticism, a lot of speed when you just look at them. Same thing on the defensive side. They're an odd stack type of defense, which is a little different, and we see that some, not as much as this team plays. That's pretty much who they are, and so they're built for speed over there. They got a couple of ends that can motor, and linebackers do a great job. They tackle very well. It's a good matchup. It really is. But it'll be a challenge for us to be able to get pressure on that quarterback and disrupt the timing of what they do, because they've got good timing. He knows where to go with the ball. Receivers understand what they're trying to do and how they're trying to attack coverages and holes and man-to-man and breaks and all this stuff. Big challenge for us.
The last two ACC title teams here each had a non-kicker walk-on and became an all-ACC selection. Philippine won this year. Do you think you have to have a player development success like that, every walk-on or a guy you develop like that who maybe was is highly regarded to get where you want to
Did you
get.
say kicker?
Non-kicker.
Non-kicker.
Oh, non-kicker. Oh, okay. Because Cat was a walk-on too, and made a great contribution obviously for us this year. But I didn't hear the other part of it. You had me confused on the kicker. What was the question again?
Rephrase this one. The last two ACC title teams here each had a non-kicker, walk-on, all-ACC selection. You think you have to have guys like that to fill in the voids?
Oh,
That's right.
absolutely. In today's college football, I mean, you have to have guys that buy into your program. I mean, you have to have great walk-ons. You got to have great walk-ons, not just guys that develop and help you, on the game field, but help you on this practice field. I mean, that's a critical part of it. And from time to time, you get guys that are talented enough to really make a contribution, and it's a hard thing to do. Most of those guys don't. Their contribution is more practice, but it's great when you have a guy like a Philip Price and a Thomas Hunter jumps in my mind, Tony Elliott, Chandler Catanzaro, guys that come in here and really make a difference for your football team. So I think that just that makeup is what a team is all about. They're all shapes and sizes. They're all different backgrounds. No star, 1 star, 5 star. And the bottom line is, give what you got. Whatever it is, just give it. And you got a chance to be successful.
Coach, wondering who picked the holiday pregame,
You like that?
music, and
You like that?
how much did Mariah Carey
Isn't
help?
that great? Frosty was my preference. Love that. We try to just change it up on them, and I don't know. I don't know who picked the music today, but I'm going to find out. I was highly impressed with the selections. But we changed it up. We've had some good stuff this year. We've played some of the. I don't know when they did it. Maybe it was in the 80s or the 90s or something. They used to have all these Clemson. Like they take real songs and Clemsonize them, and DVD, and we've played a lot of them, and that's been a lot of fun. But we just have a music board. But again, I don't know who picked it today. I thought that was a great way to start off. That was well thought out.
Even know all the lyrics.
Absolutely, yeah. Frosty and Jingle Bells and Rudolph are usually the ones that everybody's got down pretty good.
In terms of guys that are redshirting right now, do you look at the next 15 practices and say this guy could really make a couple of strides? Is there anybody you keep an eye on?
Oh man, all of them guys. In fact, I was walking around today that whole period, just kind of observing, and you see Latique and Colton Walls and B.J. Goodson. That's 3 pretty good-looking cats right there. And just watching them move around, and you go over and you see Rod Bowers and Maybank, and watching them offensive linemen, Norton, and Regan and Shaq. I mean, it's great to see those guys. Watching McClain over there at tight end today. I mean, it's just all of them. Those 2 young quarterbacks. I mean, there's a bunch of guys. We got some young guys in the secondary, and we kept a few guys that like Gary Peters, Robert Smith. Some of those guys that are playing some, but just need more work. We kept them in the mix as well. But we got a bunch of guys. It's a good-looking young group, and like I said earlier, we're going to use this time to really, kind of have like a pre-spring with that group of our football team, because they're going to benefit a ton from it. And then get the rest of these guys really in shape and ready to go. And it's great for us weather-wise, because I'm sure it'll be warm down there. Last time I was down there, I mean, it was a sweat fest in December, practicing. So we'll have to do a good job making sure they're really in shape and ready to go before we let them go home for a few days.
You'd alluded during the season, you got sensibility coming along as kind of a shutdown guy. Now you got a pretty good receiver on your side. I mean, how do you determine who he covers, and just talk about even now, since the middle of the season, looks like he's come along a little further.
Yeah, we've used him as a matchup guy. That's kind of been our as he's grown as a player, especially with his confidence. I mean, he's been that guy, and it won't be any different in this game. We'll have to. Obviously, they got a bunch of guys, and we got to match up with. But Cody is one of those guys that. It's another one of those program guys, just You know, he's not far from a walk-on. I mean, we just barely got him here. He was heading to a different level, and took him late, and you know, not a very good player early, but he just kind of kept working. He's kept developing. He's working the strength conditioning part of his game, the mental part of his game. He's always been able to run, but he's progressed every year. And to see where he is right now, I mean, he is going to have a chance to be drafted. I really believe that. I would have never said that this time last year, but I really believe that he's got a legitimate shot. I know he's going to get a chance, and I think he's got a shot to be drafted. I really do, and that's a credit to him and how he's worked and hung in there and continued to you know, press forward and learn from everybody. But it's one thing to do it out here. It's another thing to go do it on game day, and he's paid a real price to have the kind of season that he's had this year. So I'm really proud of Cody. I mean, he's been a great leader for us. He's been one of those key guys that has stepped up at some key times for this team. I'm proud of him.
Coach, there's a lot of Clemson tie-ins with this one. Just the anniversary, 84.
Yeah.
I mean, have you thought about that? And just, I mean, there are parts of this that you just look at it and just say, was this meant to be?
Well, I mean, you know, that's how I think. I mean, that's just how I believe. I believe the good Lord, you know, works all things together for the good, and you know, that's why I'm thankful even when we have tough times. We're in the valley, because you know, usually when you got some adversity, something good's getting ready to happen. That's just the way I think. God's working on you, and you know, so I think that things happen for a reason, and I'm not surprised at all, to be honest with you. I didn't even know that until a couple of days after the fact. Somebody told me that they were going to be inducting Coach Ford into the Hall of Fame down there, and I just kind of smiled, you know, and just not surprised at all, and because, you know, to me, that's just how the good Lord works. And it's been 30 years since we've been there, and of all the years, there's been many years they could have put him in the Hall of Fame, and you know, it just so happens that it's this year, and Clemson's going to be there. I mean, that's pretty neat. That's pretty special to be a part of that, and you know, hopefully we'll honor him as well as far as how we play the game.
He said, he told us yesterday that he thinks you look at things as the glass is 3/4 full, and not only is it 3/4 full, but whatever's in the glass is really, really good.
Well, listen, I learned a long time ago that you know, that your attitude is the one thing you control, and you know, I would say that's a compliment to me, and I do look at life that way. I've always done that. I mean, listen, I've been in situations in my life where I had two choices. I was how I was going to look at it. Look at it one way or the other. And you know, I made the decisions in my life, and I have to give the credit to my faith and people that have been that the good Lord has put in my life along the way, that's helped me to develop that. And my mom would be one of them. You know, Kathleen, my wife, would be the other one. I mean, as far as just how I look at things, and that you can do things, and it doesn't have to always be this way. It can change. Just because it's always been that way doesn't mean it has to be that way. The rest of your life can be the best of your life. I've just always thought like that. And no matter what's going on in your life, we all have the choice to choose the right attitude. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to change the situation or the circumstance, but it gives you hope that it will. Because if you look at it the other way, you got no hope. And you know, that's a personal choice. And you know, I think that you know, so many people they see it half empty. It's half empty all the time, and there's no hope of it getting better. And that's when people just quit. It's just terrible. That's why we got a lot of problems. You know, nobody wants to work at it anymore. Nobody wants to just give up. Everybody wants to hang in there. You know, and the future belongs to those who hang in there. You got to hang in there. You got to have some toughness, and I think it takes toughness to be able to look at things and say, hey, that's half full. So I take that as a compliment, And that's just how I've tried to live my life. That's how I try to raise my kids, and that's how I try to coach this football team. So.
Does the Price experience, his personality, his walk-on tight end who put on weight, does he change at all the way you look for tackles in the future? Or
well, I just think, to be honest with you, he was a guy we kind of thought could be a tackle the whole time. And, I actually recruited him. I called him every week, just like he was a 5-star recruit. And conversation was the same every week. Hey, man, how you doing? I'm good. All right, just want to call and say hello to you. Thank you, Coach. How'd you do last week? I did good. That's about it. It hadn't changed. But I just saw an athlete, a big athlete that could do something that just, everybody was kind of overlooking. And I don't think anybody recruited him. He might have had an opportunity to go play at some of these small schools, but he really wanted a chance. Even brought him in on an official visit. And I didn't think he was going to be a tight end. I really felt like at some point, and he finally bought into that. It's one of those things you just kind of put him on the shelf for a couple of years, and then if he'll work and he'll pay the price and do all that, then you look up and say, okay, well, all right, let's get him off the shelf and see what we got here. And that's kind of what it was with him, and he wanted to play, and I think he eventually realized that, I'm not going to be a great tight end, but boy, if I move one spot in, I might have a chance to help this football team. And because he was always hovering in the 265, 270 type of range. And so then he bought into it, and then he realized, hey, man, I can go eat. And I think it's not unusual. I think there's a lot of tight ends out there that have become great tackles. There's a bunch of them guys in the NFL. There's a bunch of defensive guys that have come over and played tackle. I just think you just always evaluate your personnel and get them in the right spot. I think that's a real key to having a successful football team. Is getting people in the right spots. And sometimes you don't really know that until you get them in place and evaluate them. But from an evaluation standpoint, we're not necessarily going out trying to find guys that we want to make into a tackle. We like to find them guys that you go, that's a tackle. I like them guys. That's the ones we want. But sometimes, guys develop in different ways.
All set. Coordinators tomorrow.